For 25 years, I've been the invisible daughter, the shadow sister, the accountant no one listens to. But not today. My voice doesn't waver as I stand at the head of Foster Real Estate's gleaming mahogany conference table. The financial documents in my hands are no longer trembling, unlike my insides. 8 pairs of eyes stare back at me in stunned silence, my sister Patricia's wide with fury, my parents narrowed in disbelief, and the board members darting between us all, sensing the family drama unfolding before them. As the external auditor assigned to review the company's finances, I've uncovered multiple discrepancies in the accounts. I continue, my professional tone belying the storm inside me. Specifically, I've found evidence of systematic financial misreporting spanning the last 3 fiscal years. Patricia slams her manicured hand on the table. This is absurd. Mother, father, are you going to let her do this? My mother, Ellen Foster, touches the pearls at her throat, a nervous habit from her teaching days. My father, Richard, former judge and patriarch of our family, clears his throat with the authoritative rumble that once silenced courtrooms. Margaret, he says, using my full name as he always does when displeased. This is neither the time nor the place. It's exactly the time and place, I interrupt, shocking even myself. I've spent my entire career being ignored and underestimated by this family. I've watched Patricia make reckless decisions that you've endorsed without question. But these numbers don't lie, and neither will I, not anymore. As I lay out the evidence, the falsified property valuations, the hidden losses, the tax irregularities, I see the color drain from my sister's face. For the first time in my life, I'm not backing down, not apologizing for my expertise, not making myself smaller to let Patricia shine. Behind me stands Catherine Bradley, senior partner at Bradley and Associates, one of New York's most prestigious accounting firms. Her presence gives weight to my words, her reputation lending credibility to my findings. I've had enough of this charade, Patricia hisses, standing up. Maggie's always been jealous of me. This is nothing but spite. And there it is, the familiar script, the one where I'm cast as the bitter, jealous sister. But something has changed in me. The lock has broken, the door has opened, and I'm finally stepping through. No, Patricia, I say, my voice steady and clear. This isn't about jealousy. It's about integrity. Something you wouldn't recognize if it filed a tax return. How did I get here? How did quiet, accommodating Maggie Foster finally find her voice? It didn't happen overnight. It took 25 years of silence, and then, finally, one missing document too many. 2 weeks earlier, Grayson Accounting. My cubicle at Grayson Accounting hadn't changed in 23 years. Same beige walls, same flickering fluorescent light that no one ever fixed, same view of the parking lot. At 52, I'd long accepted my place in the world, mid-level accountant, reliable but unremarkable, forever destined to be overlooked. As I sorted through the paperwork for Foster Real Estate's annual audit, I couldn't find the most recent property acquisition reports. Again. This happened every year, critical documents mysteriously missing, delaying my work, making me look incompetent. Running late on the Foster audit? Daniel Garcia paused by my desk, coffee in hand. At 53, Daniel was one of the few colleagues who really saw me. Perhaps because as a Latino in a predominantly white accounting firm, he knew what it felt like to be overlooked. Patricia's forgotten to include the Westridge Mall acquisition documents. I sighed. I'll have to call her again. Your sister does this every year, Daniel said, leaning against my cubicle wall. You know it's deliberate, right? I did know, but acknowledging it meant confronting a lifetime of family dynamics I wasn't ready to face. It's just Patricia being Patricia, I said, reaching for my phone. Maggie, Daniel said softly, when are you going to stop making excuses for them? I had no answer. The truth was, I'd been making excuses for my family my entire life. Flashback, University of Pennsylvania, 1991. Are you sure about this, Margaret? Professor Jenkins peered at me over her glasses. Wharton MBA graduates with your GPA get offers from the top firms in New York, Chicago, London. Grayson Accounting in Westchester is. Well, it's a significant step down. I clutched the acceptance letter in my hand. I'd already turned down offers from Price Waterhouse and Goldman Sachs. My mother's illness. I need to be close to home. What I didn't say was that Ellen Foster's illness had mysteriously appeared the moment I'd mentioned moving to New York. That my father had called, his judicial voice somber, to remind me of family obligations. That Patricia, who dropped out of college to find herself, was now being groomed to take over the family real estate business while I was expected to stay close, be practical, support from the sidelines. Your talents will be wasted there, Professor Jenkins warned. But I'd made my choice. Family first. Always family first. Present day, Foster Estate. Margaret, darling, come in. My mother's voice carried the same lilting cadence it had when she taught kindergarten, before she married into the Foster fortune. At 78, she still maintained perfect posture, perfect hair, perfect appearances. The Foster family estate hadn't changed since my childhood, the same imposing colonial architecture, the same manicured gardens, the same oppressive weight of expectations. Mother, I need to talk to you about the missing documents for the audit, I began, following her into the sunroom where afternoon tea was already laid out. Oh, that. Patricia mentioned you were fussing about some paperwork. She's handling it, dear. Mother poured tea into delicate cups that had belonged to her grandmother. You know how busy she is with the Westridge development. It's not fussing, Mother. It's my job. Without those documents, I can't complete the audit. You always were so particular about details. She passed me a cup, her diamond bracelet catching the light. Patricia has a vision for the company. She sees the big picture. That's why your father was right to choose her as CEO. The familiar sting of the comparison settled in my chest. Patricia with her vision. Patricia with her charisma. Patricia, 4 years younger, but always steps ahead in our parents' eyes. Mother, this isn't about vision. It's about legal compliance. The Westridge Mall acquisition numbers don't add up, and I can't sign off on, Margaret. My father's voice came from the doorway, authoritative as ever despite his 80 years. Your mother doesn't need to be troubled with business matters. Dad, these aren't just business matters. There are serious discrepancies in. Patricia explained everything to me yesterday, he interrupted, lowering himself into his favorite armchair. The discrepancies you're seeing are due to a complex leveraging strategy she's implemented. Quite innovative, actually. The dismissal was as familiar as it was infuriating. I'd graduated summa cum laude from Wharton. I had 25 years of accounting experience. But in this house, Patricia's community college marketing class and natural business instinct would always trump my expertise. Dad, with all due respect, what Patricia described to you sounds like financial misrepresentation. It could be illegal. Mother gasped, her hand fluttering to her pearls. Margaret, how could you suggest such a thing about your sister? I'm not suggesting anything. I'm stating a professional opinion based on the financial data I've reviewed. Father fixed me with the stern gaze that had intimidated countless defendants in his courtroom. Patricia has brought this company into the modern era. The Foster name is respected throughout the state because of her leadership. I won't have you questioning her methods out of some professional jealousy. There it was again. Jealousy. The label they'd pinned on me since childhood whenever I dared to question Patricia's preferential treatment. It's not jealousy, Dad. It's concern. As the accountant responsible for auditing the company's finances, I have a legal and ethical obligation to. Oh, Maggie's here. Patricia's voice rang through the hallway before she appeared in the doorway, immaculately dressed in a designer suit, her blonde hair perfectly styled. At 48, she still commanded attention the moment she entered a room. I thought I heard my big sister's voice. Always so serious. She swooped in to kiss our mother's cheek, then perched on the arm of our father's chair like she used to as a child. Are you bothering Mom and Dad with boring accounting talk again? Actually, I was asking about the Westridge Mall acquisition documents you were supposed to send me last week. Patricia waved a dismissive hand. I told Johnson to handle that. He hasn't sent them yet? That man is useless. I'll fire him tomorrow. Patricia, that would be the third CFO you fired this year, I pointed out. Because I demand excellence, Maggie. Something you'd understand if you ever left that little accounting firm of yours. She turned to our parents. Did I tell you about the charity gala I'm organizing? The governor's wife is on the committee. And just like that, the conversation shifted. My concerns dismissed, my professional judgment ignored, while Patricia regaled our parents with stories of her social triumphs. The same pattern that had played out my entire life. Later, as I was leaving, Patricia followed me to my car. Maggie, about those documents. There might be a few irregularities in the reporting. I turned to face her. What kind of irregularities? Her perfect smile didn't reach her eyes. Nothing serious. Just some creative accounting to make the quarterly numbers look better for the investors. I need you to overlook it, just this once. Patricia, that's financial fraud. I can't overlook it. Don't be so dramatic. She placed a manicured hand on my arm. It's just business. Everyone does it. I don't. Oh, right. Perfect Maggie with her perfect ethics. The familiar mocking tone emerged. Always so uptight, so righteous. This isn't about being righteous. It's about breaking the law. It's about family loyalty. Her voice hardened. Dad put everything into this company. His reputation, his life savings. If there's even a hint of financial irregularity, it would destroy him. The manipulation was so familiar it almost worked automatically. Family loyalty. The trump card they'd always play to keep me in line. If you really cared about Dad's reputation, you wouldn't be putting it at risk with fraudulent accounting. Patricia's mask slipped for a moment, revealing the cold calculation beneath. Just sign off on the audit, Maggie. For once in your life, be a team player. As I drove away, her words echoed in my mind. Team player. As if I hadn't sacrificed my entire career, my dreams, my identity to be part of their team. As if I hadn't spent 25 years being the reliable daughter, the supportive sister, the family accountant who never questioned too deeply. Something shifted inside me that day. A quiet realization that loyalty shouldn't require self-erasure. That family shouldn't mean fraud. That maybe, after all these years, it was time to stop playing by their rules. Grace and accounting a late night. The office was deserted at 10 p.m. I'd told the night security guard I was working late on tax returns, but in reality, I was digging deeper into Foster Real Estate's finances than I ever had before. Without the missing documents Patricia had been withholding, I had to get creative. I cross-referenced bank statements, property records, tax filings, piecing together the puzzle that my sister had tried to obscure. What I found made my stomach turn. Systematic misrepresentation of property values. Hidden losses disguised as profits. Tax fraud that could result in criminal charges. My sister wasn't just creative accounting, she was driving our family's 90-year-old business straight toward disaster, all while maintaining the illusion of success. As I stared at the spreadsheets confirming my worst suspicions, memories flooded back. Patricia accidentally spilling coffee on my college application to Wharton, making me miss the deadline and forcing me to apply late. Patricia telling her parents I declined a job offer from Goldman Sachs because I didn't think I could handle the pressure, when in truth I'd turned it down because Mother had claimed she couldn't bear to have me move so far away. Patricia taking credit for my financial strategies that had saved the family business during the 2008 recession. A pattern of sabotage so consistent, so deliberate that I couldn't ignore it anymore. Maggie? You're still here? Daniel's voice startled me. He stood in the doorway, jacket slung over his shoulder. I forgot my phone and came back to get it. What are you doing? I hesitated, then decided. If there was anyone I could trust, it was Daniel. I'm finding evidence that my sister has been committing financial fraud for years, and I don't know what to do about it. Daniel pulled up a chair beside me, studied the screen, then looked at me with newfound respect. You know exactly what to do. You're just afraid to do it. He was right. I knew the professional ethical requirements. I knew the law. I just didn't know if I could stand up to my family after a lifetime of giving in. What would you do? I asked him. Daniel was quiet for a moment. When I got divorced, my ex-wife told the kids I abandoned them, that I chose my career over family. For years, I tried to be the good guy, never contradicting her story, never fighting back, thinking it was better for the kids if I just absorbed the pain. His eyes met mine. Then one day my daughter asked me why I left them, and I realized that by staying silent, I wasn't protecting anyone, I was just enabling a lie that was hurting all of us. What did you do? I whispered. I told the truth. Simply, calmly, with evidence. It wasn't about revenge. It was about integrity. He nodded at my screen. Your sister is breaking the law. Your parents are enabling her. And you're the only one who can stop it, not to hurt them, but because it's right. In that moment, I saw with perfect clarity the choice before me: continue being the family doormat, or finally stand up for what I knew was right. I need to make a call, I said, reaching for my phone. To who? Catherine Bradley. We work together at university. She runs one of the biggest accounting firms in New York now. I took a deep breath. And I think it's time I asked for her help. Catherine's office, New York. Catherine Bradley hadn't changed much in 30 years, still razor sharp, still direct, still radiating the confidence I'd always admired but never managed to cultivate for myself. So let me get this straight, she said, reviewing the documents I'd brought. Your sister has been systematically falsifying financial records. Your parents are either complicit or willfully ignorant. And you've spent 25 years enabling this dysfunction by looking the other way. Put like that, it sounded pathetic. I winced. I wouldn't say I've been enabling. Wouldn't you? Catherine's piercing gaze hadn't softened with age. Maggie, you were the most brilliant accounting student in our class. You could have been a partner at any firm in the country. Instead, you've spent your career at a small town firm, auditing your family's business and ignoring obvious fraud because. Why? Because they made you believe you owed them that? Her words stung because they were true. I had allowed myself to be diminished, to be used, to be silenced. They're still my family, I said weakly. And you're still a certified public accountant with legal and ethical obligations. Catherine leaned forward. The Maggie Foster I knew at Wharton wouldn't have tolerated this for a minute, let alone decades. That Maggie disappeared a long time ago. Did she? Catherine raised an eyebrow. Or did she just get buried under years of family manipulation? Because the woman who put together this analysis, she tapped my documents, is exactly the brilliant, meticulous professional I remember. I felt something stir inside me, not just anger at my family, but disappointment in myself for allowing this situation to continue for so long. What do you think I should do? Catherine didn't hesitate. Present your findings at the next board meeting. I'll be there to back you up. Once the board members understand their potential liability, they'll have no choice but to act. Patricia will fight back. My parents will support her. Let them. Catherine's confident smile reminded me of the woman I might have become. You have the truth on your side. And from what I can see in these numbers, they have nothing but lies. As I left her office, Catherine called after me. Maggie? For what it's worth, it's not too late to become the accountant, the woman you were meant to be. Ellen Foster's birthday party, Mother's 79th birthday celebration, was exactly the kind of event Patricia excelled at orchestrating: elegant, Instagram perfect, designed to showcase the Foster family's wealth and status. The estate's ballroom was filled with Westchester's elite judges who had served with my father, society matrons who served on charity boards with my mother, business associates who partnered with Patricia. I stood in a corner, nursing a glass of champagne, watching Patricia hold court. Margaret, you're looking professional. Helen Whitfield, my mother's oldest friend, approached with the faint distaste she'd always shown toward me. Still at that little accounting firm? Such a shame you never married. A woman your age needs companionship. Before I could respond, Patricia glided over, champagne flute in hand. Aunt Helen, I see you found my serious big sister. Still hiding in corners at parties, Maggie? I'm observing, I said. It's what accountants do. Speaking of accounting, Patricia said, her voice carrying just enough to attract nearby ears. Maggie's been absolutely obsessive about some missing paperwork for the company audit. Called me 6 times in one day. I told her, Maggie, life's too short to spend it buried in spreadsheets. Polite laughter rippled through the small crowd that had gathered. I felt the familiar heat of embarrassment rising in my cheeks. It's not just paperwork, Patricia, I said, working to keep my voice even. It's legally required financial documentation. See what I mean? Patricia rolled her eyes dramatically. Always so serious. This is why we never let Maggie plan the parties. More laughter. Helen patted my arm with condescending sympathy. Not everyone can be the fun sister, dear. I watched as Patricia moved on to the next group, trailing admiration in her wake. The perfect daughter. The successful businesswoman. The charismatic center of attention. 25 years of this. 25 years of being the punchline, the afterthought, the sister who needed to lighten up. As I made my way to the powder room for a moment of peace, I overheard Patricia's voice from my father's study. Of course the Westridge numbers are solid, Daddy. Maggie's just being difficult because she's jealous. She's always resented my success. Remember how upset she was when you made me CO instead of her? I froze outside the door, my heart pounding. I never wanted to be CEO, I whispered to myself. I had never once expressed interest in running the family business. In fact, I deliberately stayed away, establishing my career at Grayson specifically to avoid working directly under my family. Your sister has always been rigid in her thinking. My father's voice, so full of the dismissive tolerance they'd always shown toward me. She doesn't understand the realities of modern business. She's threatening to bring up her concerns at the board meeting next week, Patricia continued. You need to stop her, Daddy. She could ruin everything we've built. Leave your sister to me, my father assured her. She'll fall in line. She always does. The absolute certainty in his voice, the complete confidence that I would once again sacrifice my integrity to maintain family peace, was like a bucket of cold water. They didn't just take me for granted. They didn't just dismiss my expertise. They counted on my compliance as an essential component of their deception. In that moment, standing outside my father's study in my sensible black dress while the party swirled around me, something crystallized in my soul. I would no longer be the compliant daughter. I would no longer enable their lies. I would no longer diminish myself to maintain their illusions. Later, as guests were leaving, my mother found me on the terrace. Margaret, you barely mingled. Several people commented on how withdrawn you seemed. I had a lot on my mind, Mother. Well, it appeared rude. Patricia put so much effort into this party. She adjusted her pearls, a sign she was building to a complaint. And what's this I hear about you questioning Patricia's business decisions to the board members? Garrett Williams mentioned you called him with concerns about the company finances. I called him because he's the head of the audit committee, and I found evidence of financial misconduct that he needs to be aware of. Mother's face tightened with displeasure. This family has always handled its affairs privately. Your father will be very disappointed to hear you've been airing our dirty laundry. It's not dirty laundry, Mother. It's fraud. Margaret Elizabeth Foster. She lowered her voice to a harsh whisper. You will not use such language about your sister. Patricia has worked tirelessly to grow this company. If she's taken some creative liberties with the accounting, I'm sure she had good reasons. In that moment, I realized my mother wasn't just enabling Patricia, she was actively complicit. She knew. She had always known. The board meeting is Tuesday, I said quietly. I'll be presenting my findings with supporting analysis from Catherine Bradley's firm. Catherine Bradley? Mother's eyes widened. Your college friend who runs that big New York firm? Margaret, what have you done? What I should have done years ago, Mother. My job. The boardroom present, and so here I stand, at the head of the conference table, watching as the carefully constructed illusion of Foster real estate begins to crumble. I've laid out the evidence methodically, irrefutably. Catherine stands beside me, her presence lending institutional credibility to my findings. This is a witch hunt, Patricia hisses, but I can see the fear behind her anger. Maggie has always been jealous of me. She's trying to destroy this company out of spite. I'm trying to save what's left of it, I correct her. And my name is Margaret. The board members exchanged troubled glances. These aren't just family concerns anymore. I've demonstrated their potential personal liability if they ignore these findings. Judge Foster, says Williams, addressing my father. In light of these discrepancies, I move that we suspend Patricia Foster from her duties as CEO pending a full investigation. This is outrageous. My father's face is flushed with anger. I've known most of you for decades. You would take the word of an accountant over a Foster? I am a Foster, I remind him quietly. You just never valued what I brought to the family. Margaret, my mother pleads, tears threatening to spill. Think about what you're doing to our family name. I'm thinking about the law, Mother. About ethics. About truth. I gather my papers, my hands steady now. Things this family should have valued all along. The vote is taken. Patricia is suspended. An independent investigation will be launched. My parents sit in stunned silence as their carefully constructed world shifts on its axis. As the board members file out, Catherine touches my shoulder. You did it, Maggie. How does it feel? I consider the question. There's no triumph, no vindication, just a quiet certainty that I've finally done what's right. It feels like freedom. Patricia confronts me in the hallway, her perfect makeup streaked with tears of rage. You've ruined everything. Are you happy now? No, Patricia, I'm not happy. I'm just finally being honest. There's a difference. My father appears behind her, looking suddenly older, diminished. Margaret, come to the house tonight. We can discuss how to manage this situation. Keep it in the family. The old Margaret would have agreed, would have compromised, would have found a way to protect them from the consequences of their actions. But she's gone. There's nothing to discuss. The investigation will proceed. Whatever happens next is out of my hands. Then you're no longer welcome in our home, he says, his judicial voice attempting authority but achieving only pettiness. I know. I meet his gaze steadily. I made my choice. As Catherine and I walk toward the elevators, she glances back at my family, Patricia sobbing dramatically into her mother's shoulder, my father staring after me with a mixture of anger and disbelief. Where will you go now? Catherine asks. I take a deep breath, feeling the weight of 25 years lifting from my shoulders. I don't know. For the first time in my life, that's actually exciting. She smiles, pressing the elevator button. You know, my firm could use someone with your expertise and your integrity. A job offer? After I just imploded my family's company? Because you just chose integrity over family pressure. That's exactly the kind of accountant I want on my team. She hands me her card. Think about it. New York could use a Margaret Foster who finally knows her own worth. The elevator doors open, offering a path forward, away from the world where I was always second best, always overlooked, always silenced. I'll think about it, I promise, stepping inside. Behind me, I can hear Patricia's voice rising in another dramatic outburst, my parents' soothing responses. Their familiar dynamic playing out one more time, but no longer including me. Catherine presses the lobby button. Welcome to the rest of your life, Margaret. And for the first time in as long as I can remember, I smile with genuine hope. Thank you. I think I'm going to like it here. 6 months later in New York City, the view from my office at Bradley and Associates stretches across the Manhattan skyline, a daily reminder of how far I've come literally and figuratively from the beige cubicle at Grayson Accounting. Margaret, your 3 o'clock is here, my assistant announces over the intercom. Send them in, please. The door opens to reveal a nervous-looking woman in her early 50s. I recognize the signs immediately, the carefully maintained professional demeanor barely concealing years of diminishment and doubt. Ms. Foster? I'm Janet Wilkins. She extends her hand. Thank you for seeing me. Please, call me Margaret. I gesture to the chair across from my desk. Catherine mentioned you're interested in joining our forensic accounting team. Yes, though I'm not sure I'm qualified. Janet smooths her skirt, eyes darting around my impressive office. I've spent the last 20 years at a small regional firm, and let me guess, I interrupt gently. Someone along the way convinced you that was all you were capable of? That your dreams of something bigger were unrealistic or selfish? Her startled expression tells me I've hit the mark. How did you know? I smile, thinking of my journey over the past 6 months. the investigation that revealed the full extent of Patricia's fraud. My parents' social disgrace when the story hit the local papers. My sister's tearful television interview blaming me for destroying the family legacy. And finally, my decision to accept Catherine's offer and move to New York. Let's just say I understand what it's like to outgrow the box others have placed you in. I pick up her resume. Now, tell me about this fraud detection algorithm you develop. It looks impressive. As Janet begins to describe her work, growing more animated and confident with each sentence, I feel a familiar vibration in my desk drawer. My personal phone, with a message from Daniel. I'll check it later. Right now, I have more important things to do, like helping another woman discover her true value, just as I discovered mine. Some might say I destroyed my family. I prefer to think I finally created myself. And in the end, that has made all the difference.